Hello, my name's Michael Conneely, and this video is about Jupiter entering the Vedic sign of Aquarius in April 2021. It's part of our April Star Wheel Astrology and Healing newsletter. And there's a list on my Star Wheel Astrology website, the 2021 April page, of all the many parts of our April newsletter. So do go to that page, and there you'll find the list of the parts and all the links. Now, Jupiter enters Aquarius on the 6th of April, although it must be noted that Jupiter re-enters Capricorn. In fact, he's back in Capricorn from the 14th of September to the 20th of November, when he re-enters Aquarius to transit forward in that sign. So, what's important to realise is that Jupiter's transit into Aquarius and his transit is through Dhanishta Nakshatra is very importantly a time when we should listen for our spiritual realizations and our inspirations. The energy is now going to be more philosophical and intellectual, and I would say visionary. See my separate blog on Neptune and Pisces, which is part of this April newsletter. And watch out at this time for acquiring knowledge that may come to you and making discoveries to do with knowledge and inspiration. The vibration at this time of Jupiter in Aquarius is more humanitarian. You could perhaps use the word kind, although it could be a bit clinical. And Jupiter will be aspecting so that certain signs will be immediately boosted by his entry into Aquarius, namely Vedic Leo, Gemini and Libra. They will receive more of Jupiter's expansive blessing energy now that he enters Aquarius on the 6th of April. Let's look a bit about the nakshatra that Jupiter is transiting in, Dhanishta Nakshatra. Now, Dhanishta Nakshatra is ruled by Mars, and its symbols are the drum of Shiva or the flute of Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna's flute represents the ego that has emptied itself. For the inside of the flute consists of space only. Thus, ego creates room for divine energy when it diminishes, the game of Krishna to flow through. The ego increasingly becomes, well, you could say an empty shell, a container, where we develop awareness about our egoic personality self, but it can be filled with cosmic energy. Look for openings now that Jupiter is entering Aquarius. The next nakshatra that Jupiter enters is Shatabhishak Nakshatra on May the 22nd. The word Shatabhishak means 100 healers. And of course we have to heal ourselves more and more to become the healer of others. So do perhaps try and hear this message that we have to listen for Jupiter's healing energies and inspirations and spiritual knowledge at this time. Just a word about dignity. Jupiter had very bad dignity in Capricorn, so dignity is a measure of planetary strength. But actually Jupiter's dignity doesn't get that much better in Aquarius. So Jupiter's dignity is rated at 1 point, all the period he transits Aquarius. But of course, when he returns to Capricorn again from the 14th of September, his dignity drops back to -3 again. So, check out the graph. One of the absolute wonders, the infinite number of wonders that Vedic astrology's vastness offers. So very importantly, make special steps to boost your connection to the divine Jupiter at this time. to Lord Brihaspati. And when Jupiter was going into Vedic Capricorn, I remember I did a video all about ways of connecting with the divine Jupiter, maybe having an image of Brihaspati on your wall, lighting a candle before him each morning, and then dialoguing, standing before the picture, dialoguing with Jupiter, with Lord Brihaspati, about how you are doing in terms of receiving grace and blessing and enlargement and guru energy of teaching and handling needed expansion within the structures of dominant Saturn. It really is worth doing this if you feel Jupiter has less of a presence in your life than you need, and you have to make a special effort to listen for Jupiter's contributions at this time because of his lower dignity and the vast dominance of Saturn. Incidentally, I would just say, and this is more detail in my blog, that I do feel recession is going to be upcoming. I've looked quite closely at it. I mean, Jupiter last entered Vedic Capricorn on the 10th of December 2008, and this was the energy for the bubble to burst. Here in Ireland, the Celtic tiger crashed. So many houses around here stand empty, half built. And of course there was world recession too. So there's more about that in the blog. And, you know, I say how I see the recession manifesting. I don't think it's going to be as bad as last time that Jupiter was in Capricorn. But certainly we have to realise that we have to listen out for Jupiter because Saturn is so powerful and dominant now. And looking at the realm of politics now, it is sadly significant to say that Jupiter trines Donald Trump's son from March to April, giving him luck and success. And indeed he's promoting his launch of an alternative social platform to Twitter. Also, there'll be a big breakthrough for Kamala Harris now. From around April the 13th, Jupiter aspects her. Very powerful, very assertive, very fated ascendant conjunct Rahu. So ambitious, and her position will become empowered by that Jupiter aspectation in mid-April. And I also want to say that Jupiter will be receiving an aspect from Mars in Taurus until, this is quite important stuff, this concluding section, until Mars moves into Gemini. Jupiter and Mars will also connect well when Mars moves into Gemini. So you see Jupiter is transiting Dhanishta Nakshatra, and Dhanishta has as its ruling planet Mars, Jupiter-Mars exchange. So there's a Jupiter-Mars aspect until Mars moves into Gemini, then a Jupiter-Mars exchange, all positive. And then from mid-May, Mars is in a 6-month, what's called a Parivartana Yoga, an exchange of energies with Jupiter. Because Mars will have entered Punarvasu Nakshatra at the end of Gemini, which is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter will be transiting Dhanishta Nakshatra, which is ruled by Mars. So the energy to the guru teaching and inspiration and blessing is there. If you pause, even pause every day and make steps. You know, I do 2 vision journeys a week. You know, I teach shamanic journeying. And of course, because Mars and Jupiter are working well together from now and especially in May, this is very good for putting plans and inspirations into action. Although, of course, always remembering, honouring Saturn's demand for consolidation and strategy and patience and hard work as well. Thank you.